everyone. It's time to call the Charlton Select Board meeting to order. Today is April 14th, 2026. The time is 6:30. We're at the Town Hall, Meeting Room 1. Just to note that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live by Charlton Cable Access TV on Spectrum TV, Channel 191, and recording available on YouTube channel for Charlton TV. Any member of the public who wishes to record a meeting must first notify the chair. Anyone notifying the chair?
Is it a law that we need to let you know that we're recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Sage, it is.
My future answer, always answer would be yes, maybe, maybe not.
Oh, accept it. Thank you for letting us know here. All right, so first thing, let's please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on down, we are going over to announcements. Baja, all yours.
Charlton Earth Day is April 25th this year. Our Power, Our Planet cleanup, 8 a.m. Earth Fest, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the Town Common. From the Fire Department, the Car Seat Safety event sponsored by the Charlton Fire Department. It's Saturday, April 25th, and that's from 8 to 2 p.m. on the Town Common. Appointments are recommended. Brush burnings ends May 1st. Anyone who would like a permit can get it online. Senior Safe at Home program is very active with many requests coming in directly through the Senior Center or through the Fire Department. If anyone is interested in donating to the program, please reach out to the Fire Department. If you would like to schedule an appointment, you can contact Brittany and 508-248-2276. The yard waste drop-off this year is April 18th and April 25th, and then May 2nd and May 9th. That's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at DPW. That's at 100 Flynn Road. Real estate and personal property bills are due by May 4th, and at the Charlton Public Library. Tuesday, April 28th at 6 p.m. in the community meeting room at the library, swarms are a healthy and natural part of the bee life cycle. Beekeeper Dave Wade will talk about who and what to do if you spot one. Thursday, April 30th from 6 to 7:30 p.m., also in the Dexter Hall, author Matt Davis will discuss his childhood inspiration for travel. He will share some of his favorite stories and photos from his book, and he will offer some travel tips. Annual town election is Saturday, May 2nd. That's at Heritage School, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We hope to see everyone there. Good luck to everybody who's running. Annual town meeting, Monday, May 18th, Charlton Middle School. That's at 7 p.m. And last day to register to vote for election and the town meeting. It's Wednesday, April 27th, from 7:30 to 5 at town clerk's office or online. Last but not least, absentee mail-in ballots now available. You can see the town clerk's page for details. That's all I got.
Well done as usual. Thank you. All right, next on our agenda would be our open forum. If there's anyone here who wishes to speak, now's the time. Most of you, Mr. Lemansky, come on down. As you know, please, if you could keep it to about 3 minutes, it would be appreciated. Welcome.
Try to keep it at 2.
You know the routine, name, address.
This was probably about 7 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks ago. I came across this article, and when I mean article, it's part of the records of the town of Charlton as far as the bylaws. In article number 25, it's headed Required Information, and it says, effective July 1, 2006, town offices, departments, and committees shall maintain an inventory of all textbooks and other substantial reference or resource materials in book form, tools, equipment, furniture, which are under his or her jurisdiction. The requirement shall include dependable properties such as photocopier, typing, paper clips, and all this. This also includes types of equipment, serial numbers, color, whatever. And then it goes on to say that all of this needs to be done, and it's done annually, and it's filed with the town clerk. Well, I had gone to the town clerk and asked for a copy of this information. For instance, like, how many miles on the town truck? How many police cruisers do we have? How many fire trucks do we have? All of that is inventory, and it's required that it be turned into the town clerk. And Karen, the town clerk, and I had a copy of this, she had no clue, went down to the selectman's office, and they really didn't know anything about it. So it was, the secretary there said, we'll work on it. And then I went back like 3 or 4 weeks later, nothing. I happened to bump into a town planning board employee, and they said, yeah, we already have ours done and turned in. Not as if I'm out snooping around saying how many paper clips you got, but again, it's just information I think that should be known to taxpayers. And it seems as if I'm getting, you know, hiding the football as far as the information out of the selectman's office. So maybe you can just look into that and see if we can move it along, because it is a requirement by our bylaws within town. That's it. I'm under 3 minutes.
You did well.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I did well, but thank you for the time, and have a good evening.
Thank you. And as everyone knows, per our policy, we don't address it at the meeting, but we will make sure we'll circle back.
If you have a copy of the information, that's all I'm looking for. It's not trying to start trouble, just looking for information.
Never,
That's all.
Rob, I know.
No. Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come up and speak at open forum? No? Okay. Moving on. The next item on our agenda would be our student representative reports. Natalie is not here today, so we have, Alec, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'd love
New rep
to.
from Dudley, okay, I'll let you do the introduction.
So, I don't know I'm supposed to look, but I'm Alex Zarowski. I'm from Shepherd Hill. So, I'm here to tell you guys what we're doing. So, recently, March 31st, we held a Powder Buff tournament, which is a volleyball game hosted by our students. We also had a whole school assembly for driving under the influence, which was really positively received. Everybody loved it. It was a great trivia. Our sports teams are doing good. Lacrosse, good. Track is track, so it is what it is. But cheer team, cheer team junior varsity has gone first place in the league championship. Our varsity cheer team got 2 regional champs, so that's always good. And on April 9th, we have hosted our Powder Buff game, which is a football game hosted by football players, and we just have other girls playing football. So everybody loved that, like they always do. Our drama club on April 17th and 18th are hosting a show. It's called If This Set Could Talk. So we'll see how that plays out. Our prom is planned for May 16th. Student council is currently has that under control. Tickets are on sale for April 13th to 17th, so best time to buy it. We also have Sports Academy opening up in June to July. So if you need anything like co-ed soccer or field hockey, sports such as that, younger people can get introduced to it. So we also have a Sports Academy Spring Clinic, not only in the July and June months, so things such as soccer, flag football, ultimate frisbee. We also have that. April 20th is when it starts. And we also have some changes in our bus routes. So the late bus has been removed, so 5:30 p.m. late bus no longer, but the 3:30 p.m. late bus Monday to Thursday is still around. And we are incorporating First View, where parent and guardians can track their students through GPS, which I think is the right call personally. And for our schedule, our spring break begins April 20th to 24th, and our last day is currently June 17th, and the foreign language trip is this coming Thursday, as well as the report cards have been released. So keep an eye out on that.
Excellent. All done?
Yep,
Thank-
that's
Thank you.
everything.
Excellent. Well done. And Natalie, just in time. You're up.
There are 3 more days until April vacation. Spring sports are going well. Boys volleyball, girls and boys lacrosse, baseball and softball are all off to a great start. On behalf of the JV softball team, we are now 2-0. Freshman class dues are $10 cash or check. See Miss Legier or Mr. Mungin in room 273 to pay them. Sophomore Math MCAS is coming up next month. Miss Kitchell will be hosting after-school MCAS boot camp sessions every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Junior prom tickets will be going on sale May 4th. Be sure to turn in your completed guest form before purchasing your tickets. Senior prom ticket sales were last week. If you are unable to purchase a ticket, please email Miss Mailer.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, moving on down to, we're on number 3, approval of minutes. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting that was March 24th, 2026.
Motion to approve as written.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Next item on our agenda, we're down to number 4, appointments and resignations. Andrew?
All right, well, first we have an appointment for police dispatcher. 38 applications were received for the open police dispatcher position. Interviews were offered to 10 candidates, of which 1 declined due to accepting another position. Police Chief Dowd, Deputy Chief Mason, and Human Resource Director Lynn Dyer conducted the interviews and would recommend the board appoint Ava Peterson with a start date of May 4th, 2026, pending Corey and background check. I'd recommend the board make the appointment as recommended.
I move to recommend the board to make the appointment as recommended.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No? Did you want to? No?
Good evening, this is Ava.
Aye.
Hi, Ava.
Recent Shepherd Hill graduate, currently at Nichols College. She comes to us with some experience from Douglas, so she's been in the field for a while, and she's all ready to go. We've got somebody going on maternity soon, so bringing us back up to our right numbers is it's a good time to be doing that, so the plan seems to be working, so.
Very good. Anything you want to say? Not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot. We welcome you. And
Thank you so much. Thank you for all of this. I just wanted to say I'm really excited to be a part of the town and helping the people in the community.
So you still the student at Nichols?
Yeah.
What year are you in?
Freshman.
Freshman?
Yeah.
And what do you study?
Criminal psych with a minor in legal studies.
Oh, wonderful.
perfect.
That was very important that she went to Nichols. According to Deputy Mason, they had some kind of bison thing they did.
Oh, yeah. Nichols graduate, Nichols strong.
Thank you. Thank you for
Awesome.
being here tonight, and we
Thank you.
appreciate it. And
Yeah,
thank you for grabbing our attention. So,
Thank you.
all right, so we're going to vote. So any other discussion? No. All right, hearing none. All those in favor of the appointment as
Aye.
motion made?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. It's unanimous. Now it's official. Congratulations again. All right, next one, Andrew?
Right. Next would be the appointment of our DCRSD student representative. Attaches an email from DCRSD Principal Darren Elwell recommending the appointment of Alex Zarowski to serve as the DCRSD non-voting student representative for the remainder of the school year. I recommend the board make the appointment, and he's scheduled to be here tonight, so.
Oh.
And he made it.
And we made him work before we appointed you officially. We gave you a little test, actually,
We
so
did.
you passed. So
Yeah, you
I think
did
we
a
did.
trial-
Do
your
we
trial
have a
run.
motion? Do we have a motion to
I
appoint?
abstain.
Motion to appoint.
You have a second? Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4 ayes and 1 abstention.
Abstain.
Now officially welcome. Job well done so far. All right. Andrew, next.
All right. Attaches a request from the town clerk's office asking the board to appoint Rodney King as a poll worker. His term expiration date would be December 30th, 2026, and I'd recommend the board make the appointment.
I was so moved.
I
So-
moved to make the appointment.
All right. Second.
Second that.
Discussion? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous, yeah. All right. Andrew?
All right, finally, we have a notice of retirement from James Harmat. Attaches a letter from James Harmat notifying the town that he'll be retiring from the DPW effective July 26, 2026, after 26 years of service to the town. No action is needed by the board tonight, but would like to thank Jimmy for his years of service to the town.
Absolutely.
I may, 26 years, and you say it's a very, very long time. Do we have a cert, or can we
We will.
get one?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. On behalf of the board, thank you for your years of service. Anyone else like to add anything?
Just thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 26 years.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right, Andrew, we're moving on down to scheduled appointments. How are we doing? We're
Right on time.
behind?
Yep.
Well, okay, we're on time.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, 6:40, we have Phyllis Hanlon from the Charlton Earth Day Committee. Good evening, Phyllis, and welcome.
Thank you. I am the chair of the Earth Day Planning Committee, and we'd like to invite everybody to take part in our annual cleanup. We have a map on the townofcharlton.net website that people can sign up to clean a certain road. And we will set up, the committee will set up on the common at 8 o'clock with sturdy yellow bags, gloves, vests for both kids and adults. And this year, because of the tick problem, we have tick prevention kits. They're stickers. And then we also have some removal kits that the Board of Health had generously donated to us. People who clean up their streets can bring the bags back here. There will be a dumpster set up in the back of the town hall that Casella provides for us. And if people are interested in getting a jump start, there are yellow bags in the town administrator's office, so they can stop by there and get those. We also have the T-shirts again this year. There was the contest at the Heritage School, and Riley Boland is the girl who won. She's a 7th grader, so her design will be on the T-shirts. First 100 people to come through will get a T-shirt. From 11 to 2, we have a festival on the Common. If it's raining, we'll be in Dexter Hall, but it's not going to rain this year. So we have musical entertainment. There are 4 food trucks this year. We have a number of different vendors that all have some kind of an environmental message that they are trying to impart to people. Let's see, the funding for the Earth Day has been provided mostly by the Last Green Valley with additional support from the Charlton Recreation Committee, the Charlton Board of Health, Charlton Heritage Preservation Trust, Casella, Kara Smith Photography, and Millennium Power. And last year, we had approximately 200 people who cleaned up 110 miles of roads and parking lots and other public spaces, and they collected just over 2 tons of trash. So we're hoping that, we have a good turnout this year, and we invite everybody, and we thank you for supporting our cause.
We actually, on behalf of the board, thank you and your committee for what you do. How many years now have you been doing this?
It's been a
Do you wanna
long
think about that?
time. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure. if it's-
Thank you. You're all volunteers, and you do an excellent job,
Yeah.
so thank you so
We
much.
have a good group.
What?
What
Oh,
is
the
it?
date, what the
Oh,
date
April
again?
25th. I think Barbara mentioned it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
April 25th.
April
But as you
25th.
mentioned, you can get the bags now if you want to get a jump start, which is
Yes.
sometimes helpful if people aren't going to be around, so.
right,
yeah,
right.
Excellent.
And you said it starts at 8 a.m.
It starts at 8.
at the Common.
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you again for coming and sharing, and good
Okay.
luck.
Thank
And
you.
do you really know if it's not going to rain? I hope it's
It's
not.
not.
It's not going to rain, just. All right, thank you. All right, next, well, we can mention the, you want to bring up the request for the club, the alcohol license is being postponed?
Yes, so we had a 6:45 PM request for Club all alcoholic beverage license from Overlook Communities. They have requested to postpone their request indefinitely, so there's no action needed at this evening.
All right. And we're too early for our 7 o'clock appointment. What do you recommend?
Number 2, under action items.
So we're going to move down to number 2 under action items.
All right. This would be for the Arts and Activities Center application for special event Blueberry Festival. Attaches an application for a special event permit from the Charlton Arts and Activities Council to be used for the Blueberry Festival on July 26, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 4 Dresser Hill Road. The application has been reviewed by the Fire Department, Building Department, and Police Department. I'd recommend the board approve the request.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous. Want to go down to number 3, the Charlton Lions Club request for toll roll?
Yes, the
Road.
Charlton Lions Club is requesting permission to hold a toll road in Charlton Center, intersection of Main Street and Masonic Home Road, on Saturday, May 9th, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. with a rain date of May 16th, 2026. This request was forwarded to Police Chief Dowd, who is in support of the toll booth, contingent upon the following safety precautions: that all volunteers must wear bright-colored vests while soliciting donations. Orange traffic cones must be set out on Main Street and Masonic Home Road for a distance of not less than 50 feet on each respective way prior to reaching the toll station. A minimum of 5 traffic cones on each roadway should be put out in place a distance no greater than 10 feet apart. Signs warning voluntary toll booth ahead must be erected on both Masonic Home Road and Main Street, not less than 75 feet from the toll station, and no stopping of cars or impeding the flow of traffic in any way. This event helps the Charlton Lions raise funds to support Massachusetts Lions Eye Research, the Charlton Lions Scholarship Fund, and other important community initiatives.
All right.
I move to approve as requested.
I would second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
I don't know.
Hearing none. All those in
Ready to
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous. I think we can keep going. Number 4. All right. We're on number 4 under action items.
All right. The police department is asking the board to declare a 2021 GMC Acadia that was seized by their department and awarded to them by the court. They are looking to sell the vehicle on municipal bid for the proceeds to go back to the Charlton Police Department Law Enforcement Trust Fund as a condition of the award. I recommend the board declare the 2021 GMC Acadia as surplus.
Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Dan, how many miles are on that thing, do you know?
Shop top.
Huh?
Sharp cut.
They keep it there,
The pictures, it looks pretty good.
All right, I think we can do the master plan. All right, we're moving on. Now, we are now on number 5 under action items, for those of you trying to follow the bouncing ball. Okay.
All right, so last fall, the town was awarded a $100,000 grant to support the development of a revised master plan, in addition to $50,000 allocated by the town in 2020. Over the past few months, the planning board has conducted an RFQ process to select a consultant in facilitating the plan. VHB has been selected by the planning board to assist the town in this process. A kickoff meeting between the planning board and VHB is currently scheduled for June 17th. In order to ensure a final report that reflects the needs of the community, an engaged group of residents is needed to help steer the process. I've included a draft committee charge for the board's consideration. This is currently under review by the planning board. My recommendation would be to establish a master plan steering committee and take further action to adopt the charge following the review by the planning board. We would begin recruitment to this committee immediately with the goal of making appointments on June 9th in time for a kickoff meeting on the 17th. What are the wishes of the board on this?
Open it up. What are the wishes of the board?
I'd motion to approve the draft. Are we gonna pick a select board member or something tonight, or is that we're waiting for them to come back for that?
My recommendation would be to establish the committee, and then when the appointments are made on the 9th, that the select board choose a representative.
Do we have how many members do we need for that?
I don't believe we set a set number. It depended on how many applications we thought would be a manageable group. I figured that once this goes to the planning board, they may recommend a size.
Yeah, they're really driving the bus on that, so.
All right, so today we're just moving to approve that committee as,
Right, so you
Sure.
begin the solicitation process.
all right, I move to approve that
And
as
sec-
written.
and second that.
Do we have a motion and a second? Do we have any other further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes, it's unanimous. All right. Recommendation on where to
I
go
would
into?
say
We
to
have time
start
for-
the hearing.
And start the hearing,
Yep.
okay. So those, just so you know, we're now going back up to scheduled appointments. We are going to be talking about the 7 o'clock appointment, nuisance dog hearing on dog owned by Mary Taylor, 28 Southbridge Road.
All right, so please find attached a public hearing guidelines for dog complaints for use during the hearing, which outlines the procedure for the hearing. A letter hand-delivered to Ms. Mary Taylor, 28 Southbridge Road by Charlton Police Department with the date and time of hearing, as well as a copy of Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157. Response from Ms. Mary Taylor regarding the hearing. A 35-page report with photos and fines issued by ACO Emily Sears. 10 pages of police reports, 8 pages of complaints filed by the abutter, and 5-page complaint filed by an additional abutter. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, once a complaint is received that dog is a nuisance by reasons of vicious disposition or excessive barking or other disturbance, the selectman shall investigate or cause to be investigated such complaint, including an examination on oath of the complainant, and may take such order concerning the restraint or disposal of the dog as may be deemed necessary. It is that order that the owner may then appeal to district court.
All right, so
Madam Chair.
I will call the public hearing to order, as we do have a quorum. So this public hearing is called pursuant to the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 140, Section 157, on the complaint of a nuisance dog owned by Mary Taylor, 28 Southbridge Road, Apartment 203, Charlton, Mass. I just want to confirm that everyone who will be speaking on this matter has signed in. Is that true? If not, we will ask you to do so.
Yes, have them sign in first, and then
Okay, so if you
and
please
administer.
come on down, and once you sign in, our town administrator will swear you in. Thank you and welcome.
So if everybody's all set, then I just need whoever signed in to raise your right hand. So, I state your name. Do solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony I'm about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, acknowledging this oath under the pains and penalties of perjury, so help me God. All right, Madam Chair.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. All right, first item would be to have our animal control, animal inspector officer come forward and, oh, you're there. Give you your report, please. Welcome, thank you, nice to see you.
Thank you for having me. I know these things are not easy for us. So, on December 15th, 2025, I was notified by email by Mary Devlin in the town administrator's office that on December 12th, 2025, a woman named Kate Zalnaradis put in a formal complaint requesting a nuisance dog hearing. Ms. Zalnaradis resides at the Katy Brook condominiums at 28 Southbridge Road, apartment 201, and requested a hearing against her neighbor Mary Taylor, who resides at 28 Southbridge Road, apartment 203, and her new puppy Sarah. This complaint stemmed from an incident that occurred on December 5th, 2025, where Ms. Zalnaradis and a neighbor had a package taken off their front steps by the dog Sarah, with no communication from Ms. Taylor, and a daily occurrence of multiple other complaints. The incident from December 5th, 2025 was handled by the Charlton PD. Ms. Zalnaradis put in her complaint that Ms. Taylor has no care, consideration, or fear of any consequence given, and that she continues to permit her dog to roam free, and that the dog is becoming a nuisance. She also stated that she fears the dog will, by no fault of her own, get hit by a car or get into an altercation with a dog that may not be friendly, or possibly hurt somebody by jumping on them. Ms. Zalnaradis states that the dog is friendly, but she is frustrated that Mary is not adhering to the HOA guidelines and the Charlton Town bylaws. After reviewing prior incidents at this location, this information had not been brought to my attention in the past until the date of the requested hearing. For protocol and familiar procedures, I spoke with Kate Zalnaradis and stated that I would like to try to resolve the situation since it was the first time hearing of this matter, and seeing if we could work with Ms. Taylor before moving forward with the hearing. Ms. Zalnaradis was hesitant, but she agreed. It was brought to my attention that Mary Taylor has a daughter and a son-in-law who help her out on a weekly basis, and that he is the one to speak to about the incident in depth. After speaking with Matthew Gear, the son-in-law, on December 16th, 2025, it was communicated that the dog is a new puppy and that they were going to get the dog to a board and train in the next few weeks, and that himself and his wife would be making attempts to go over to Ms. Taylor's a few nights a week, if not nightly, to alleviate the situation. These are the list of incidents that happened in the month of December of 2025. December 5th, December 6th, December 7th, December 10th, December 13th, and December 24th. On December 29th, 2025, we received another complaint from Melanie Yakes, who resides at 28 Southbridge Road, apartment 204, that she's been experiencing an ongoing issue with her neighbor, Mary Taylor, involving excessive barking and safety concerns with the new puppy. She stated that the barking has been consistent for 2 months, and after notifying the condo's management, there hasn't been any improvement. Ms. Yakes also addressed her concerns about the safety of the puppy and the owner, where the owner cannot control or manage the dog, resulting in Ms. Taylor falling to the ground and unable to get back up in a timely manner. Ms. Yakes requested that the town review this matter and take appropriate action. After speaking with Ms. Yakes, I told her that the situation is being investigated and that all parties involved are trying to mitigate the situation, and that the puppy was going to a board and train. We were hopeful it would help before going forward with a nuisance dog hearing. Fast forward to January 2nd, 2026, I was notified that Sarah went to a board and train for 3 weeks in hopes of helping the situation with training for both Sarah and Ms. Taylor. Upon Sarah returning on January 22nd of 2026, Matthew Gear stated that he and his wife would be coming to the house nightly to help keep up with the training, and that they hope to be moving in with Ms. Taylor soon, hoping that would help the situation more. He was aware of this incident and frustrated, as I strongly emphasized how important that it was that Ms. Taylor keep the dog on a leash due to the HOA guidelines and Charlton bylaws. Although he was aware of the hearing that was requested, I stated that any other complaints that came in with Sarah being back from the board and train, the hearing would be scheduled and moved forward with. On March 3rd, 2026, Kate Zalnaradis emailed the town again reporting an incident that had just happened between Mary Taylor, Sarah herself, and her dog, which made her very nervous and again frustrated. She requested that the town hold the nuisance dog hearing. At that time, I spoke with Ms. Zalnaradis and was able to gather contact information for the HOA management, where I was then able to contact them and learn that they have been sending Mary Taylor notices as well as violations. They also sent me their guidelines. Since the hearing was scheduled for April 14th, 2026, these are the list of incidents that have happened and reported to me. March 3rd, March 18th, March 26th, March 31st, and April 1st. Due to prior incidents at the Katy Brook condominiums, I was under the impression that I could not rate violations for private properties, such as apartment complexes and the condo associations, but that has since been clarified been clarified for the town of Charlton. I have given Mary Taylor multiple warnings as well as 4 citations for Charlton bylaws, Chapter 110-3 and Chapter 110-4, dating March 18th, 2026, April 1st, dating from March 18th, 2026 to April 1st of 2026. Mary Taylor was also served the notice of the hearing in hand, and I will be speaking with Matthew Gere as he has since moved in with Mary Taylor and the situation has not been resolved. So I would say as of maybe a week and maybe 2 weeks ago, I did catch up with Kate Zalnaritis, and she said there hasn't been any incidents. I don't know if that has changed. She can update us. I haven't been reported of any incidents more recently. The barking has stopped, but from that neighbor that complained about the barking, she said that the dog being off leash did continue to be an issue.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll have questions.
Yep.
Moving further down the list here. All right, next, I will invite up the complainants for, if you have testimony, now's the time to come down. Thank you. Hi, if you just state your name.
Hi, my name is Kate Zalnaritis. I live at 28 Southbridge Road, Unit 201.
Thank you.
So it's very unfortunate that this situation had to come to a town hall meeting. I did try to address it with my teenage son, with Mary, upon the initial concern that we had with the dog eating packages off my porch. To no avail. I mean, I had to get Charlton Police involved, which they certainly busy and have other things to do. But it's really been one situation after the next over a 5-month period. I'm concerned for the dog. I'm concerned for my own dog. The dog has approached me when I'm outside with my dog, and Miss Taylor makes no effort to recall her dog, get her dog, create safety or mitigate any of the concerns when I'm outside walking my dog. The past 2 weeks have been a bit quiet, and I'm hoping that her family moving in will be helpful to the situation. I just don't know how else to kind of hit home and explain to Ms. Taylor how important it is to keep her dog leashed and under her direct control. I understand the bylaws in the town of Charlton. My understanding is that the dog needs to be in the control of a competent person. I'm concerned that perhaps she's not competent to own an animal and take care of it. The last incident that I had with the dog that was really concerning to me was on March 26th. That's when the dog jumped on me, and the dog had my whole hand in her mouth. While she's very playful, she's a puppy, I was not hurt. I don't know if that was a child, if it was an elderly person getting knocked down. Like, there's just a variety of things that could happen with this dog not being under someone's direct control and on a leash. I'm not sure what can happen. I'm not sure exactly what I want to see in terms of the outcome of this meeting, but I feel like there needs to be some respect and care and consideration when you're living, especially in a condo community, when you're in charge of a living, breathing animal, and you're putting other people at risk and other pets at risk in the condo community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other complainants who wish to provide testimony? We'll now hear from anyone who, if you have testimony from any other person here who would like to testify to the events we're talking about. Now's the time. Come on down, and again, your name and your address, please.
Matthew Gere, 28 Southbridge Road, Unit 203.
Good evening.
I am the son-in-law of Mary Taylor. Yes, sorry, we have to be here. Mary suffers from mental illness, is also 60 years old, and not an excuse, but that is why we ended up moving in, to kind of take care of both ends. There's been a few things that have gone on, in the Charlton community due to her mental illness, and like I said, we're trying to work on that. We moved in maybe 3 weeks ago now. I respect, what she shared, but we are doing our best to work on it and get her the support and help she needs as well. This has not been easy. I don't think we understand the mental illness enough, but it's a lot going on there. It's part of the reason why she has a tough time. The dog is never unleashed. The dog ends up running from her hands, always leashed. We've taken over basically everything, and that will continue forward. And at some point, we will probably be getting a house with her to kind of make it a little easier as well. And including my daughter and my wife, we also live with Mary now.
Thank you.
That's all.
I appreciate that. I think that concludes. Is there anyone else who wanted to provide testimony who had signed in? Nope. That was part of the owner testimony. All right. Now is the time to entertain questions from my fellow board members. Do we want to have Emily come back up, our animal control officer, to answer any questions she may have?
Well, it seems like that from the time you moved in, things have quieted down. Emily, you think that's the 3-week period you were talking about? That's probably...
Yeah, I would say the last 2 weeks have been good. I think the first week that they moved in, obviously it was just happening, so I think that whole week, the dog was loose every single day. But like Ed mentioned, the last 2 weeks have been quiet.
What would your recommendation be, Emily? Well, actually, I jumped in the gun here with this.
That's definitely a difficult situation because of the HOA guidelines. Normally we'd recommend like a fence or an electric fence or a dog run, but we can't recommend any of those. They don't allow that. So it's definitely a hard situation to deal with.
Emily, was the condominium association involved in any of it whatsoever, the Board of Trustees?
Yeah, so I think right from the beginning, they have been sending her violations, and as far as I know, she is paying them. But that's it. Their guidelines, I don't want it to get to that point where their guidelines do say that they are allowed to remove the dog, but as it is for the town of Charlton, it takes a little bit. You have to go through the court and all this stuff.
It says right here, any pets causing or creating a nuisance, unreasonable disturbances or noise shall be permanently removed from the property within 10 days from written notice from the Board of Trustees.
Yeah, so I emailed the woman that I was contacting, and I had asked her, again, I said, I don't want it to get to this point, but at what point does it take to get to there? And she had said, it's a difficult situation. We have to write the notice, get a lawyer involved, go to court, and she was kind of giving me the runaround. Didn't sound like they were willing to do that. And I don't want the dog to get taken away either, but definitely something needs to happen.
But it was said, Kate said that she was attacked, or I shouldn't say attacked, but the dog jumped on her, and that was March 26th. So at that point, were the people living with Mary, or not?
We weren't fully moved until April 1st.
Okay.
Yeah. I sent you guys pictures and stuff. There was another time where there was like a walker going down the road and she had jumped on the walker. And I know Kate was out with her dog one day and Sarah had approached her dog, and some dogs are not friendly, so there could have been a fight between the two dogs or an altercation between the two dogs where they both got hurt, and we don't want that to happen to any of the dogs.
I just don't see, now when they moved in with her, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name, so now we should have no problem with the dog being on a leash, because it seems to be just the issue of the dog being on a leash.
Yeah, so I don't know if Matt works from home or if he is back and forth, whatever. I'm assuming that it might be happening when he's not home, where she is letting the dog out when, they aren't there to help her. So I don't know what we could do to help that situation.
And I do, and perhaps I'm not recalling this correctly, I think the gentleman mentioned that the dog was on the leash, but
she wasn't able to control him, and
Yeah, the dog,
so
I think, slips
technically,
by her,
the
yeah.
dog's on a leash and jumps out of her arms or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if, from other complaints, it doesn't sound like once the dog gets by her, she does much to grab the dog.
I'm sorry, can I ask a clarifying question?
Mhm.
Did you just say that if the dog is on the leash but is not in control of the owner, that the dog is technically leashed?
No.
No,
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought that's what I heard.
no, I just wanted to clarify that the gentleman had said that the dog was on the leash and just jumps out of her arms and
Yeah, the
runs
dog-
away with the leash.
The dog drags the leash
So,
behind her.
right, Yep.
Yeah.
Any other questions before I close testimony and questions?
wanna
And then
know
we
what
can,
the-
then we can deliberate?
Do we know the recommendation? I didn't hear.
Oh, it's tough because I can't normally recommend what I would normally recommend because of the HOA guidelines. It makes it very difficult for us to do what we normally do.
Just
Um,
complying with the leash law?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, no, the only thing I can say is hopefully just complying with the leash law. I don't know his work schedule, but possibly him, I don't know. I could say not letting her let the dog out at all if he's not home, given a fairly responsible work schedule, but, you know, with her mental status, I don't know if that's doable.
Between three people, there's three people in the household now, right? Except Mary, so that should be doable. Let's sometimes,
Have the fines been paid that you've, the only reason I'm asking that isn't for the money, it's more, are they taking this seriously, or?
Yeah, so the dog has been licensed before this happened, so that's a good thing. I sent her a first, second, and third violation, which is 25, 50, and 75. She did send a check for 75. I'm not sure if she was confused that each one was $25 versus the tier. So I have to ask them about that, but you know, they are paying the other HOA fines too, so I that might be a question for Matt.
David?
What's the next fine for the fourth?
100.
Fifth?
100. It just goes to 100 after that.
I thought at some point at a town meeting, there was voted and approved a $500 fine by Mr. Hartwig, I believe, years ago,
Okay.
after a lot of dog issues. And I didn't know if that was still on there and how many offenses or how many violations do they have to have before it, I mean, even $100.
Yeah.
At some point, it's going to start adding up significantly.
Yeah, I think at that point, thankfully I haven't had to write that many violations, but I think at that point, it might be something that would go, you know, further to district court or something as a complaint.
Are we ready to deliberate, or do you have more questions?
No.
All right, then I will now close testimony, and will no longer entertain any questions. And now we will deliberate and come up with a decision how to move forward. Pete?
It appears the situation is improving. I would be inclined to motion for a month's continuance to see if the situation continues to improve.
I would second that.
Yeah, I'm good with that too.
If it's calmed down for the last few weeks, you know, a few more weeks, if it stays that way, it would be a very good sign. And if not, then we might have to take an action.
And they are, Matt, and they are aware of what could happen if this continued, if it's understood. Mary, she understands it and is,
Yeah,
I can't say Mary does, but we absolutely do. She does suffer from schizophrenia.
All right, I'm good with that. 1 month.
yeah.
So we have a motion and a second discussion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous. A month.
30
1 month. Hearing's closed, right?
They'll continue.
Continue, that's-
Yeah.
so we're continuing
Continue.
for the month, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you being here. It's never easy. All right, Andrew?
All right, so we have come to 7:15. The board is scheduled this evening to meet with the DCRC School Administration and Finance Committee to review and finalize the ATM warrant. You lost quorum, didn't you? All right. So alternatively, what we'll be doing tonight is first take action to approve and post the warrant as presented, assuming whether or not the board wants to take any further action on any items. We'll invite the school committee to present their budget and then take action to make a recommendation on the budget as presented, as the finance committee has already taken action to recommend the budget to you. We'll invite the finance committee back at your next meeting to make recommendations on the remainder of the articles. So we're going to start with the approval of the warrant.
Approval and the posting of the warrant? All right.
So I move to approve warrant as posted.
Do I have a second? Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Do I have a second? All right. A motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It's unanimous. Andrew?
All right, and then next would be to invite the school committee up to present their budget.
We have the Dudley Charlton Regional School Committee here. Come on down. Superintendent, welcome. Why don't you just, if for the record, state your name. You know the routine.
Stephen Marsh, Superintendent for the Dudley Charlton Regional School District. Joseph DeSantis, Director of Finance and Operations with Dudley Charlton Regional School District.
Thank you.
So good evening, Madam Chair, thank you. Select Board, good evening, Natalie. Alec, it's great to see you. I feel bad because I have to correct you on one thing already. I feel bad.
Well, you already appointed him. Wait a minute.
I own the mistake, because in February, I think I published this early, and I went out with the last day of schools on the 17th. It's actually, in fact, the 16th. It's good news, it's good news. But the last day of school is actually June 16th, so. But it's my error, I own it, but I wanted to just correct that for the record, okay, Al? Yep. I also want to introduce Dudley Charlton School Committee members that are here. We have Chair Costello, who is here. We have Charlton member Anthony Aubie. We have Charlton member Miss Kelly Zeller, and we have Charlton member Miss Jamie Delovo, who are here as well.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
I'm also very excited for the spring sports, and I have to say, I just have this thing about baseball. I think it's going to be really good this year, so I was able to go to a game and check out a whole game. I feel bad for the loss against Shrewsbury. That must have been a tough one-run loss, but I got you on Game Changer. I'm watching the whole thing, but I have a feeling that baseball, all of our sports are good, but I have a feeling baseball is going to do extremely well this year. So I appreciate your time this evening. I know I've provided this presentation to you before, and I just wanted to kind of go over a couple of things that are updated or changed with it. On the presentation, if you could look at slide 4. Slide 4 is the assumptions and risks. Does everyone have that?
I'm going
Hold on,
to
yeah.
change this over for us, sorry. Technical stuff.
We're almost, we'll be on the same page momentarily.
Yeah, please, take your time. So I just want to cover any changes that happened since the last time I presented this to everyone.
Thank you. One more.
I'm trying to get it up with modern technology here.
We'll get there.
I didn't get a chance to walk them all through this before the meetings.
Okay.
Then it'll change again. Not the budget, the technology.
So once again, I would ask you to look at slide 4.
Yep.
Slide 4 is a slide that I present on risks and assumptions and risks from year. When I originally presented this, obviously we go off of the governor's budget, and we're hoping for the House budget to come out soon. But we do get information in between to really try to make the adjustments. And we do try to provide the best possible budget to our communities. So there are a couple of these items on this page 4 were not checked off before. They are checked off now, which I'm happy to say. So we are still holding strong for Chapter 70 at $75 per student. That's roughly an increase of $250,000 on our budget by the state through Chapter 70 funding. We do hope that the House and the Senate comes in with more money, but we're still holding stability on that. Excess and deficiency, as I presented this to you before, that's in good shape. Keep in mind that we use excess and deficiency to offset our operating budget from year over year. I do have the plus sign next to that. That's once again because we did have an increase in Chapter 70 after the budgets were passed last year. We captured that in a conservative fashion. So we captured that value, and now we're adding it to offset this budget this year. So that's why it's an additional money within that particular situation. School choice charter assessment, stable for FY27. We talked about this before. That was an unchecked box in the past because we were trying to use some of what the governor proposed. We thought that her value was a little bit higher than what we traditionally experience. We still believe that's higher. We have preliminary numbers that are coming true for us, that number is still relatively high, so we can use that to offset our operating budget to reduce it for our two communities. Level funded, which is supplies and technologies, it really is level service. We do have obviously some cost increases with our technology because we have it on a lease purchase process. But we are pretty much level funded, level service for all of our supplies for the last up to six fiscal years. Federal entitlement grants and staple for FY27. This wasn't checked off before. It is checked off now. The number has changed. So about 2 weeks ago, we were told by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to reduce your federal entitlement grants. This is Title I. This is for students with disabilities. This is Title IV, Title V. These are all professional development, all other entitlement grants from the federal government. We were asked to reduce that by 25% going into this fiscal year. So we have roughly, I think, around $2 million in entitlement grants. 1.75 in entitlement grants, so to reduce 25% of that was going to be obviously substantial, but as we've presented to neighboring community Dudley, we will own whatever's within those entitlement grants. We weren't going to add the difference to the operating budget. So if there was a reduction, we were going to have to try to manage that. We feel that that's our responsibility to manage those entitlement grants without trying to push the difference, the variance back onto the two communities. Now we're being told by DESE as early as end of last week, only reduce that between 7 and 10% now. So the 25% reduction went to 7 and 10%. But once again, that wasn't something we were going to push back onto the communities. We were going to try to manage that within our own entitlement grants that we have to make some adjustments in there. Kind of a budget within a budget, per se. And then reimbursements remain stable for FY27. I haven't checked this yet because this is kind of a fluctuating thing. We believe it's going to be strong. We also believe that the legislature has been working on the surtax as well to try to make up for some funding, whether that hits in FY26 this current year or for next year. We're going to take a look at that, but we're getting ready to check that box as well as far as being stable. Remember that those reimbursements are lagging reimbursement, so it's always a year behind, but we feel that it is going to land in a good spot, if not a little bit better, and we will always adjust our budget based off of those reimbursements as well. Things like transportation, circuit breaker, things of that nature, okay? So that slide really had some of the major adjustments to it. Otherwise, we really focused on our, some of the things the school committee really charges us with. Class size really is really important. We have some good parity in all of our schools. Our average class size, kindergarten through grade 8 is roughly around 21 students per class. We know that there are some variances. There are some classes that are a little larger, a little bit smaller. It depends on course selection. Once you start getting into course selection, you have to work with that variance. We don't have the high school in there because that is all course selection at the high school level. So you could have a class with 12 students in it and a class with 35. It's tough to say that the average is really what it is. We have health insurance benefits, all that stuff, all the stuff that you're dealing with as a municipality as well. And then the only other thing that is really changed in this is the school committee did take a formal vote at their March meeting, at their after their budget hearing at March, and I'm going to turn it over to Joe to look at slide 19, which is the assessment sheet, which has both communities in it.
So just to give you a little brief overview, as Superintendent LaMarche's school committee voted and approved version 3.0, which is what you see in front of you, March 11th of this year. As you can see, if you take a look at the FY27 column, we've made an update to a total operating budget of $64,916,011, which overall equals about $2.7 million increase, or about 4.35% overall. What that means specifically for Charlton, and I'll go through each line of these just to give you a brief idea of what they mean in case you don't know already. The Charlton minimum requirement is a state-regulated requirement based on a number of factors that will equal the Chapter 70 requirement for each municipality. So again, that's state mandated for both Charlton and Dudley. Directly underneath that is your transportation number. This is based on our total transportation obligation for the upcoming year, minus our transportation reimbursements that we're gonna get from the state. Right now, that's looking at around 87%, but we're hoping that'll be pushed a little higher as the budget process continues. But what we're taking for your transportation number is our total obligation minus our reimbursements, and then that gets split up to each municipality based on school population. And then the additional amount underneath that just represents the year-over-year additional request based on what we're receiving for state aid, what we're listing for minimum in transportation, and then our total obligation. So that additional column, that additional row, is the remainder that's needed between each municipality to make our budget whole. Directly underneath that is just a listing of our capital obligations, which you can see the first one, sewer charges is an annual charge, that's stable year over year. Our Shepherd Hill field, which is debt excluded, and our July 2024 capital bond, which was utilized to replace the fire panels in 5 schools at the moment, and the 2 middle school roofs. As you can see, that I've added when those debt payments are ending, so FY '29 and FY '38. You can see the year-over-year payment, which has decreased for the Shepherd Hill field payment and for the 2024 capital bond payment. When you take all these into consideration, if you take a look at the total assessment row directly underneath subtotal capital, you'll see that represents a $1,461,326 increase, or 7.21%. So I'd be happy to take any questions you may or may not.
Anyone have any questions?
As far as capital, maintenance, upgrades, things like that? You were talking about so the buildings themselves.
Correct. As we shared with the select board last year, we did have Habib and Associates come in and do an evaluation of all of our facilities. So we are working on a capital request that's coming up. We did provide preliminarily with you, when you met with us, what that was going to look at. Mr. DeSantis is working with the town administrators and stuff and building a plan for that. So that isn't part of this presentation because it's not part of our operating requests. So that information will be coming forward, and we will be coming back for the capital part of this. So the capital that's on here right now is what was paying for file panels, the roof at Charlton Middle School, those things, where the town of Charlton was very generous in giving money up front, and it's why your assessment is lower, actually lower than the town of Dudley's capital request, because of your upfront submission for that, which we greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Any other questions?
When would we expect that to be done, or?
So the timeline should be disseminated over the next couple of weeks. We're looking to present further information and authorization to school committee over the summer. And if everything goes according to plan, we'd be looking at a September timeline for a potential capital vote. But again, these are discussions and they're preliminary. The timeline hasn't been finalized.
So that would be a debt exclusion vote?
Be a loan authorization vote. The town would have to make a
And
decision
fall
as to
town
whether or not to exclude the debt after.
For those capital improvements specifically.
Right. So it would be a ballot vote between the 2 towns for a loan authorization.
Yeah.
It's really 2 separate issues. We're working on operational here versus capital.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
As far as the capital, were you still thinking the way you were talking back a couple of months ago when we met?
Through the chair, yes. Keep in mind, Habib and Associates identified somewhere around $135 million worth of capital improvements over, let's call it a 5-year period. We are still looking at trying to be very conservative and come in with what is needed for safety upgrades at this point in time. So it is a multi-million-dollar request. There's no question about that, but it is in line with that as well, yes. It is not $135 million. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of $7 million, I think, for the community of Charlton for safety upgrades to our schools. And then there are some things that we're looking at for filing with Mass School Building Authority, but that's a multi-year process to do that. We are working with our school committee and submitted an SOI, statement of interest, for the Heritage School, and the school committee did vote to identify Heritage as the priority building and anything to do with Mass School Building Authority moving forward. Because it is the building that was identified by Habib and Associates as the most in need of, believe it or not, the most in need of upgrades
I don't know.
for the district, so.
That's fine.
Incredible.
All right, well,
I'm good.
Roger, you
So that was
Yeah.
7 million is what would...
I'm giving you a rough number around.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna hold you to it. I'm
We're
not
gonna
gonna-
get all our
I'll
information.
I'll forget that number when I leave here anyway, don't worry.
36 cents, put that on the end too.
Very, still preliminary, more information to come.
Yes, more information, we will,
Yeah.
as we did with the roofs and other capital improvements, we did have public forums. We'll advertise public forums during the summer for people to come in and hear a presentation on what the capital is for us and ask questions about why we're moving forward with this and asking support not only from our school committee, but also from you as a community.
So when you look under Charlton, when it says additional, right, and it says, so it decreases from FY '26 3.2, and then FY, that the 2.9 something number, that is lower because of that access and deficiency numbers that you were talking about?
So it's lower based on a collective of factors, so whatever our total operating budget number looks like, whatever we're receiving in state revenue and reimbursements, and what we're receiving in transportation reimbursements, the minimum requirement from the state, sometimes those numbers will be higher, so that your additional required will now be less to meet our obligation.
Gotcha.
If our operating budget was 65 million and change, then our additional request from Charlton and Dudley individually would be higher. But because we're able to mitigate a lot of the expenditures, because we're able to level service, et cetera, we are comfortable at that figure.
Thank you.
Is Dudley, what did I hear, is Dudley looking at a possible override for their portion of this, or?
Well, didn't they look last year?
Should I even ask that question? I thought I heard something about that.
Through the chair, I've heard things too, but I can't confirm or.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to start on this.
No, I'm just wondering, because that could change.
I don't, it just blows my mind, like Dudley 12 million, us 21.5 million.
Any other questions, comments? If not, we appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank
Any-
you.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just want to say, if there are questions, please contact Mr. DeSantis at any time, contact me, schedule an appointment. We're willing to go over anything and everything. We know that what we're presenting to you is really the 30,000-foot level. If you want to get into details, whatever, come see us, okay?
We
Thank you.
appreciate your transparency, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good night.
Can we go back?
Yeah.
All right.
How do I go back?
7:30?
Hmm?
7:30, yeah. I think we'll bounce.
Yeah, so,
Yep, you need an action?
Madam Chair,
Yep.
up to you whether or not you want to take
Okay.
action on the budget this evening, or if you'd like to wait until the next meeting for the Finance Committee.
Look at you.
What are the wishes of my peers? Do you want to take action on the budget tonight, or you want to wait for the Finance Committee, the next meeting? Do you have a recommendation there, Andrew?
What's that?
Do you have a recommendation?
It's up to you guys, if you feel comfortable enough with the numbers that are presented to you, if you want to have a deliberation with them.
I'm fine with the numbers, we talked about
I'm
it.
comfortable moving
Yeah, me
forward.
too.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
So
So what do we do? So we
a
move as
motion to recommend the budget as
recommend the
presented.
budget as presented. Okay, so I move to recommend the budget as presented.
Do you want me to go through it at all, or are you guys good with it? It's up to you.
What are the
Maybe
wishes?
for the people watching.
I
just
thought,
like to go through the highlights.
Since you're here, Ashley.
All right, I'll give you the high points. So, what's new in the budget this year, we did, recommended 4 firefighters to staff the new station, so they're up to their, staffing requirements between running the 2 stations. So 4 bodies plus the insurance is included in the budget. And then the, school for Dudley Charlton District is recommending a SRO officer in the school, so it'll be just for the Charlton schools. Like they do for Shepherd Hill, they have a Dudley officer in the school, so that's also included in this budget. It's not quite a 50-50 split, but it's split based on the agreement that they had. So that's also included in here, with the insurance covered for that. The school recommended budget is included in here. And then there's a part-time position for the library for digital skills. They requested 2 positions, and Finance Committee recommended the digital skills person to part-time position.
It's the team.
Oh, no, that's right, it was a teen position, sorry, not the digital skills. Andrew's right. So they asked for digital skills and the teen, to do teen programming at the library, so they recommended to do the teen programming in the budget. And then, based on, at our last meeting, when we approved the transition for our insurance, we were able to bring the insurance number down, so right now we just have money in there for the 4.5-ish new bodies, and then money to hopefully pay out our claims run out from anything that comes in for the next 18 months after June 30th. We're responsible for paying out the claims run out from when we're on Hampshire Group. So since Mass Strategic was a 0% increase, we were able to fund a little bit of money in there to fund our claims run out. So that's where you'll see the 12.2% increase in health insurance.
Okay.
Those were the high points.
Any questions?
No, we're good. Thank you, Ashley.
And we were
That's
still able to
helpful.
close, like, over $2 million, I think, in the levy. So we didn't tax to the fullest. We were able to close 2 million still, and Finance Committee really wanted us to do that, so.
So would that be a factor in a bonding line?
So yeah, so we're not, so last year we closed 1.8 million in excess levy capacity, which means we're not taxing to the fullest dollar that we could per the state guidelines. So we're actually hopefully closing more this year. And then as new growth gets finalized, because it gets finalized later in the year, that number could potentially change as well, so.
Thank you.
We're in a good position going into the fall, so.
And the projection of new growth is 250,000.
Correct, yep. So this is the first year we're kind of going back to normal land, because we haven't had really a normal year since, I don't know, like.
2017, actually, yeah.
Yeah, so this is our
Numbers like
first year we're budgeting. There's nothing in the pipeline we see coming in right now, so back to normal land.
Awesome.
That's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So if we vote on this, what happens with FinCom?
They'll come back and take action on the remainder of the warrant articles for recommendations with them at the next meeting.
If you guys have any changes, I can make them and bring them to you to your next meeting if you want to change anything in budget too, so.
Any other discussion? All right, we'll take a vote then. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I didn't hear down there, David?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes, it's unanimous. All right, thank you. All right, where are we now?
7:30?
7:30. We have a scheduled appointment for 7:30. Look at that. Andrew?
All right, so Wes Schaefer, a planner with ESA, Renewable Energy Development Company, has asked for time on the board's agenda to share details as they prepare to undergo a state permitting process that includes a structured community engagement process. So, Wes?
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. My name is Wes Schaefer. I am planner with ESA. We are a renewable energy infrastructure development company based in Florida. I'm here with my colleagues, Jonathan Santiago and Ernest Calderon. Thank you so much for making time for us this evening on your busy agenda. As a small gesture of our appreciation, we've brought with us today some Florida weather. I hope you enjoyed it. Tonight I'd like to give you a little bit of homework. We are presenting to you an engagement plan, which is how we expect to engage the local community in a process that has been promulgated by the state ahead of our filing for a renewable energy project, which will be a battery energy storage project located at 131 Carpenter Hill Road. Now, this is the plan before we get into the engagement, and as selectmen and leaders in your community, we're asking for you to please review this, ask questions, critique it, tear it up, tell us to start over. This will ultimately be our guide for doing a number of engagement activities throughout the summer. I have enough copies for everyone, including Alec and Natalie. Just some highlights of what we're planning this summer includes 2 public meetings, one in June, the other in September, as well as a pop-up table if we're permitted to pop up near the town hall meeting in May We also have a fire safety webinar in July. And we would like to pull together what we're calling a citizen advisory committee, which would consist of neighbors, emergency service people, and generally just Charlton stakeholders who could help guide this process. The engagement process is meant to accomplish two objectives. Objective one is to be clear about what we're proposing, a battery energy facility on Carpenter Hill Road, and what all the potential impacts of that might entail. The second objective is to, through this process, develop what's called a community benefit plan. And this would be the agreement between the owner of the project and the community on how this would have ongoing and continued benefit for the Charlton community. And so we want to co-create that through this process. Just a quick background, in November 2024, the state enacted legislation that now projects, renewable energy projects 50 megawatts or greater, I think actually 100 megawatts or greater, must go through a consolidated state permit process. And it's our understanding we're the first to really start the community engagement part of that process. And we want to be the best to do it. We want to set the mold for how to engage community. So I respectfully ask you to take a look at this. You can email, mail, call us. You can also visit carpenterhillpower.com to learn more. And I'll leave these with you and accept any questions if you have them for me tonight.
Is there any questions from the board?
I do have a question.
Yes.
So, I have read it somewhere in the paperwork that you already attempted the process 2 years ago, and something happened.
Yes, ma'am. So 2 years ago, we petitioned the planning board to enact a new zoning district. We were calling it the Energy Storage Overlay District. And actually, it was almost 2 years ago to the day. I think it was like April 4th. Just 2 days before that planning board meeting, we heard from the state that they were contemplating this new permitting process. And I remember sort of as a group, we decided to take our petition off the table because it was our understanding that folks wanted to wait to see how the dust settled on that permitting process. And 2 years later now, the rules were basically accepted in March, and then July 1st really represents the start of that permitting process. So that's kind of the background on that particular aspect.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly.
Anyone else? I know we have, not to put the planning board map people here, I see we have a couple. Does anyone have any comments regarding this? As yourselves, whatever, but I know this has been discussed
And we'll
at
be
length.
We'll be at the planning
And
board
just
tomorrow.
for,
That was my question.
That's-
You haven't met with the planning board yet?
No.
which is typical, that's where they would go first. And just to note, we are not required to take any action here tonight. We're just listening. Hi, would you just state your name, please, and
Lori
address?
Degnan, Planning Board alternate. The history on this, as you all know, is we worked very hard to get a moratorium then we could study and actually have solar-specific bylaws to follow. Because of the site plan review process, or the subdivision control law, I'm sorry, we were inundated prior to that, so we had 10 projects waiting in the wings for solar. That all came through. But whether I approve of something or not, the residents voted. They spoke. They limited projects to 30. They limited battery energy storage to 5 megawatts, which is probably about 10 megawatt hours, is that correct? Depends on whether you let the battery go for 2 hours or 4 hours. But either way, the residents said enough is enough. We do have designated zones, so when ESA came to the board, we were like, well, it's outside of the zone. We do allow them. We do have 4 more small battery energy storage approved. So I guess it comes down to we're being forced by Boston. There are some things we could do to protect ourselves. Some towns are going to lawsuits.
we're a democracy, and we've lost that with the current administration. Charlton is inundated, as you know. We've already produced more than twice the megawatts in solar that our residents use. And that's not counting the battery storage that's there, the forthcoming LNG and Millennium. So we have to ask ourselves, when we have parcels that are completely forested, that are going to be cleared, and the topsoil's removed, how do we feel about it? Residents need to speak up, let the state know how we feel. We're going to, I believe, have 2 hearings because they've surpassed the 100 megawatts, so they get to go to the siting board directly. But we do get a couple of town hearings, I guess. Wes has been great. He was very pleasant to deal with. The company's very pleasant. And as far as some of the companies that have been before us, they were very nice. I'm sure we could come to some kind of an agreement, but it comes down to a democracy, and we don't have it right now.
Wes, how big is that project? Can you just give us a little?
Yes,
How many
certainly.
batteries, how big, what is the acreage, everything?
15 acres represents the high side of what we would sort of partitioned off, and that would accommodate 150 megawatts of battery storage, which is about enough to power between 60 and 120,000 homes, depending on how you kind of do the math on that.
For how long?
For 4 hours. And I think, Ms. Degman, I think you raised very important questions that I would like to surface as focal points in these meetings. And through a community advisory committee, I don't know if there's a way to have more democratic sort of aspects to this approach. I think at the end of the day, you know, if the community benefit agreement or plan is rejected by the community, then I will say that I think that a future owner of the project would find this to be a challenging market to work in. And so this is sort of a litmus test for, you know, folks. If I may speak boldly on that, like, I think this.
Yeah, community benefit agreements, I think, are short money. What is it doing to the community? What do we want as a community? We're doing a master plan, and we did do an open space plan before, and many people wrote no more renewable. You put a fence around a former forest, and we're wondering why there's bears in Needham. I mean, they've got to go somewhere. So I think, I was born here, so it's sad to me to see how things are changing. You know, you may think we have a lot of trees, but where are we going to be? What is my granddaughter going to have in town when she grows up? It's concerning that, you know, the central and western part of the state are providing the power for the cities. And I think I was before this board at least a year ago saying that a town should be able to opt out if they already provide more than twice what they use. And we do. I mean, the LNG plant is also producing energy. I believe they have an approval of 4 megawatts. And then you have Millennium that's, oh gosh, it's upwards of 350 megawatts of energy. So Charlton is an energy hub. Do we want to be known as 2 rest areas and the energy for the state? We might as well be Union, New Jersey. So, but again, I'm one person. The town needs to speak up. See what other towns are going through. We have Medway Grid that has 250 megawatts, and it's on 5.2 to 10 acres. So this parcel, I know you've had a lease for a while. It's a 50-acre parcel. The way the regulations are written now, if a project comes in and they pass everything and they build it, and another project wants to come in adjacent to it, it could be even a different owner, and the EFSB said they do not have to start from scratch. It's in there. I mean, I've been living this for 2 years. There's very little for us to do. We're not an environmental, we're not a low income. We don't have, English is our number one language, so we have none of the benefit of being a burdened community. But we do have a lot of impacts that have happened over the years with contaminated water, as you know, in more than one area. Historically, Charlton's had a lot of impacts. And because we're not a struggling, and I actually accuse the FSB of discriminating against middle-class towns, middle-class people. We have no say. The scoring matrix is a ruse. It's ridiculous. You can buy a better score by planting trees somewhere else or donating money to a fund. We have to really look out for what we want. And again, the voters, this board, we need to get involved. Floodgates are opening. And you also have another site, at least on your website, on Sturbridge Road storage. And that was the other overlay district you would.
Right.
So there were two.
So we didn't,
We're
I
not
don't
gonna-
see a lease there, but it's been on your website still.
In this instance, we're not proceeding with filing for that one.
Right now.
Right, yeah, I mean, right now.
It's actually not, I mean, if we're going to have one, Route 20, it was where we allowed up to 5 megawatts, and that's adjacent to one of those substations over there. It's near a large apartment complex. Yeah, we also have 2 80-acre parcels on the other side of town. One is owned by a solar company already, so Charlton's ripe.
If I may say, just in parting, I actually really think you're raising very important questions, and if anything, I would be honored to go through this community engagement process, maybe come up with our, a Charlton-specific scorecard. We don't necessarily need to use the state, we don't need to follow the state rules on this. Let's make a community benefit plan that fits Charlton. And if anything, go through this exercise and see what comes, October, what comes from this. And perhaps it's something that you weigh in on as a board to say, well, we actually don't recommend that this community benefit plan move forward. And that will send a signal to the EFSB, the potential, future owners and operators of the system.
To say, well, now the
This is
state,
being
now
difficult.
the state will do it. No, that
They're
just triggers the state to do it.
They're also not
Yeah.
mandated to have a community benefit plan. It's one thing if there's an agreement and a signature, but according to the regulations, it's not mandated.
I have a question on that too. So are you domiciled in Florida, the company is?
Delaware.
Delaware?
But our headquarters is in Maitland, Florida.
Oh, okay, but so, right, for that purpose. But how did we get on your map, Charlton?
Well, Charlton is, I think to Ms. Degman's point, Charlton is in a very unique position when it comes to energy infrastructure. There's a very massive transmission line that basically connects East Massachusetts with West. And we see that Massachusetts is among the fastest growing sort of electric load or demand for electricity is fastest in Massachusetts when it comes to the New England area. A lot of that's happening in the Springfield metro region, a lot of that's happening in the Boston metro region, and Charlton is very strategically and distinctly, uniquely positioned to serve both of those rising demands. Of course, there's also, we see Amazon, we see also industry happening here, and I do think that battery energy storage could play a role in making sure that our electric system is reliable and efficient.
Some of the criticisms of the EFSB meetings I've been attending is everyone in the eastern part of the state is really interested in the MBTA Communities Act, but this has far more outreaching problems. And we have cheap land. We have probably 5 large landowners that have been cashing in. There's no other way to say it. Would I do the same? Who knows? But most of the renewable is on central and western Mass. And it's all going, it's not going just to Boston, it goes to the grid. ISO New England does the whole Northeast. So people in Vermont are upset that their solar's going to New York. Now, we just have the hydro plant come on, and the pipe, that line came through Maine. So we're supposed to be getting green energy through Canadian Hydro. But all of this is going, it's going to go all over the place. So, like I said, I think if all 351 cities and towns did their part, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But whereas it's landing on cheap land, and people are renting it out, and we have to live with it. So people need to speak up, and if you do some good outreach, it's not going to end. There'll be more people behind it. It's just the way this town has the parcels, so.
I'm just speaking for myself. I find that the irony that the state can give us a $150,000 grant to do a master plan and develop a master plan, and then turn around and say, oh, we don't care what you come up with. We want you to do this anyway. It's
Yeah.
that's why I think she's getting to the democracy
Washington.
part of it.
Everybody does this.
Yeah.
No one, we're tired of being told what to do, and I think that's where Charlton has been standing up lately.
Well, I'd like to point out, and I like what you said, and I agree with the fact that we should, in my opinion, be able to opt out if we have hit a certain quota. I think that's a very reasonable request to make.
I agree.
And it's just common sense, but.
Well, and my arguments with Maura Healy now are, look, put it all over your parking lots and your buildings, along the highways, every municipal building, and then come for our trees. But to come out because it's the quickest, cheapest to do what they're doing.
But anyway, so, thank you. I think most would agree. Mrs. Degnan is probably, if not, I think the most knowledgeable person when it comes to, I see Patsy, yep, battery energy storage, solar, large ground-mounted solar arrays. But we thank you for your time, because you are a volunteer. And thank you for being here and the way in which you presented. We appreciate it. And we will absolutely, you may come up and pass those out.
And we can reach out to you with questions?
Yes,
Do we have any?
please. Please do. The contact information should be on the back of this.
Did you hear that question?
I'm sorry?
Did general public have will copy be available?
We do have some copies. We didn't come with enough for everyone, but we,
Can you upload it to us?
Certainly.
Inform us to Andrew so he can post it on our website?
yes, certainly. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. No. This is going on.
Is all set?
Yep.
We
I
are
don't know
now
what I think
at
about
the
it.
Number one, action item.
There's a headache already.
We'll just leave the rest of our copies here if anyone.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, the fee. All right, so thank you, everyone, and all the comments.
Figure it out how to go
Much
back?
appreciated.
I have no
Thank you
idea.
for your time. And now we're going to move on. You're all set, right, Wes? You're good, all right. So we're going to move on up to action item number 1. Andrew?
So Kurt Meskis, building commissioner, has been meeting with the finance committee for the past 2 budget cycles. The finance committee has asked his department provide a comprehensive review of its permit fee schedule. The last major revision to the fee schedule occurred September of 2018. Subsequent adjustments included reductions to certain project fees initiated by the select board in 2021, and an increase to residential rooftop solar permits approved in June of 2023. Mr. Meskis is here to review the draft revised permit fee for recommendations. No action is needed tonight. Comments will be brought back and brought forward at a future meeting.
Hi.
Hi,
Good
how are we?
evening. We're
It was a
fantastic.
lovely day. I got to ride around a little bit and help some people with their projects and get them on their way to being fair and equitable in their houses and occupy them.
I like that. Help is good. That's good.
I have an acronym for that, but I won't repeat it here in public. So, there's an acronym for everything.
True.
As Andrew said that FinCom has asked me for 2 years to comprehensively look at the fee schedules and the fees of the communities around us, so I obtained from Andrew the comparable towns and all the adjoining towns are in the documentation that was there. The context for this is that these are user fees. These are fees for service under the Finance Committee Handbook for Massachusetts, where there is not a benefit all the time to the whole community. The person is doing an action that requires them to engage with our regulatory process and us to provide that service. So I outline the departmental costs, various potential fee structures, the goals of cost alignment and community parity with neighboring communities. So I'll touch on the recommendation that currently we are charging $6 per thousand of value for commercial construction, and I'm recommending that we go to $8 per thousand of commercial work, where the surveys communities range between $7 and $10 per thousand. We also deal with our trade inspectors. They are paid on a per inspection basis. They currently get $70, we get $75, and our overhead costs certainly are more than $5 per permit application. So, to make things as clear as possible, there is lots of numbers in this pile of stuff. Equalizing how permits are assessed by varying communities is a very interesting project, because I do it this way over here, and he does it that way over there, we charge per fixture here. So, when we get to page 4, I've graphed out the various communities, our current fee structure, and this fee representing only new homes, because I can't, don't want to inundate you with a graph for every type of permit we issue. Currently, we're charging $1,300 per dwelling unit. I'm proposing that we go to $3,000 per dwelling unit, given that the average of the communities around us is $4,000 per dwelling unit, and some of them are upwards of $5,000 per dwelling unit. To visualize the electrical permits, currently we charge for 2 inspections $150. I'm proposing that we increase the fee to $200, and that puts us slightly below the average of about $220 for 2 inspections equalized over the comparable communities. And keeping our plumbing inspector on par, their fees actually, same thing, we charge $150 for 2 inspections. I'm recommending that we go to $200 for 2 inspections, and the average of the communities is closer to $240 per inspection. I bring you a draft fee schedule showing what our current fees are, and some new alignments for various fees there that we were breaking out, additions and renovations a little bit more, and the commercial fees and solar fees, shown on the next page. We've had these footnotes that I would like concurrence on. These are things that we have had in the fee schedule before. The new one that it comes up as we do municipal projects is because I'm salaried, we do not charge Town of Charlton municipal projects a building permit fee. We do charge, and always have charged, enterprise funds and the school districts building permit fees. Plumbing and electrical, because they're paid by inspection, they've always been charged a fee, and it's a piece that I work with all the design teams when they're coming in to say, make sure you get this in your specifications, because we always get to the point that the bidder goes, oh, but I thought all the fees were waived because it's a town project. Well, that's not what that's not what we've been doing, and that's not, I just trying to make sure we memorialize so everyone has an equal playing field when they look at the fee schedule, what it is. And then we have the wiring and plumbing fee schedules laid out current and proposed. I would recommend, if and when we put this into action, we would make these fees applicable July 1st, the new fiscal year. And I also did a breakout on page 9, looking at the revenue projection. Now, this is the foggy crystal ball here. What we got for revenue in calendar 2025, and if we had increased these fees for calendar 2025, what they would be, or what we would have brought in revenue against our $420,000 department operating costs. You know, the citizens do pay taxes, and we do provide services to those citizens. We answer lots of phone calls, we answer questions about all sorts of things that are not captured or not, you know, are related to building permit activities or potential activities that they may want to do, but they are not, you know, the actual, I built something or I want to build something. The other thing, during this process, I picked out three things that I thought, you know, were telling. Garages. You would think a two-car garage or a garage, you know, how much would you think of that? Well, we have one two-car garage, they call it a carriage house. It's a little bigger than a two-car garage. It's pretty big. It's a mansion. The building permit, the cost that the contractor put on that building permit was $277,000. So when we talk about having a building permit fee of $500, I don't think that's unreasonable to that. The average is $77,000 for a two-car garage. Additions, you know, people put additions onto their houses. On the low end, somebody managed to do an addition, they were telling me that was only gonna cost them $10,000. I found that amazing. Someone put on their application, they were spending almost $250,000 on the addition. And we did see one massive addition, almost a house, added to a house, of over $400,000. So we're not talking about $50,000 project, $50,000 additions that we're, you know, having this humongous fee to. And in-ground pools, one of them was $100,000. The average is $69,000. So I think charging $200 or $300 is a permit fee for the work that my office performs in getting these projects permitted, inspected, and safe for the public is probably a fair cost. Appreciate any comments, concerns, bad jokes, whatever you want to throw at me, and we'll massage this for action at a future date.
David?
I know we're not voting tonight, but just my quick comments on this. The fees are going in the wrong direction is my first comment. As far as, if I will point out, an increase in fees to cover offset administrative and overhead costs, I'm sorry, but that's what we already pay the salaries for. So this would basically be increasing fees in order to charge more money for something that the salaries are already paid for. I have a major problem with that. We just went through this years ago, looking to lower fees because this is paid for. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with the argument that regardless of what somebody pays for a pool, that we should, it's fair to charge them more money because they can afford to buy a $100,000 or $70,000 pool. I think so we're punishing someone for their success and how they choose to spend their money. I have a lot of issues with this, and there's no way I'll ever support this. In fact, if anything, we're trying to go the other way and lower more fees.
I have a question. So those fees were not increased since 2016?
Yes.
So I'm completely opposite to David. I think that it's time to increase the fees. Everything goes up. I don't see why not. my
Just
two
please
cents.
don't confuse admin costs.
No.
Increased fees to pay for that, that's what your salaries are for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
but
but
that I'm
insurance is
really-
going up for all
Everything is
people,
going up,
there's-
yes.
That's still separate from what the salary is for. That would be a separate issue.
Still, and all those numbers are presented, were, if not median, then below the median of everybody else out there.
Yes.
Yeah, no, yeah,
So every
I'm
other
good.
community mismanages their budgets and abuses their residents, so Charlton should too. I've never cared what other
Yeah.
communities do, most of them are grossly mismanaged. Charlton has always been a leader, and here we're talking about punishing our residents because they may want to have a nice pool in their backyard. And again, I
What
can
about the
erase
pool?
almost everything from this. The bottom line is, and a major hangup, is going to be the claim that we're raising fees to offset admin costs. That's your salary. We pay you to do that. We shouldn't have to offset what you're paid to do. There's a major flaw in this entire argument.
Pete, did you have
With-
any
with-
opinion?
But with rising costs and salaries and health insurance and all those things, you're gonna pay either with fees or you're gonna pay in increased taxes, one way or another you're gonna pay.
Gas,
We have to
everything.
come up, we have to meet the budget at the end of the
Since
year.
2016, we've
It's
been
everybody
10
pays for
years.
that.
So better ways
No
to manage
change.
the budget than punishing residents.
It's not about
Number one, I would
punishing.
start with
It's a
that.
difference from
And
200 to
salaries we
$225.
negotiate. The salaries that we negotiate, insurance that we work on with everybody else, should have nothing to do with the permit fee. Okay? We have money that comes in. Obviously, we have to consider what we are asking our residents for. And we have to be responsible with that, but we also have to be responsible with what we're asking them for. And if that means that perhaps, we have to look at other things to make adjustments down the road, that's fine. I don't think, I would like to know, what is the total that $20 is gonna do? Is an extra $20 for these permits gonna generate an extra $1 million to offset our budget? Or is it gonna generate another $10,000 or even $20,000, which when you're talking about hundreds of millions of
He
dollars.
actually
is
did. It will generate
negligible.
enough to invest in something else, not
Well, let's-
necessarily all the.
We
Let's
just
let
keep
Kurt,
spending
did you
our
want
residents' money.
to find that page or address that? It's up to you.
So I'll refer you, Mr. Singer, to page 9, where we compare what we collected in calendar 2005, and if what I am proposing was in place, what we would have collected, and that is still short
Right.
$100,000 of the operating cost of the department. And I understand, Mr. Singer, that you believe that costs, fees should be kept low. However, when you look at the Finance Committee handbook published, they specifically address user fees and enterprise funds, where they say building permit fees are a user fee. They're a fee for service. So as I explained, my department does a lot of stuff that the taxpayer pays for, and we give them that service. But if you don't build the project, why should you, as a taxpayer, be subsidizing someone else's project? These are discretionary things. We did not tell these people that they had to put a swimming pool in, that they had to build an addition. We keep our maintenance fees low. Our roofing, siding, replacement window fees are specifically kept low because those are maintenance fees. They are a requirement of the laws and the codes that permits be issued. But I'm not looking at them to raise revenue. I'm looking at the cost to operate my department and what the user should pay for based on their discretionary action.
So, Madam Chair, I'm just going to leave it with, I'm very familiar with user fees, Mr. Meskis. I'm also fully aware that we pay you a salary to perform a job function. And increasing fees in order to offset your performance of your job function, that's why we pay you, your salary. I have a big issue with saying, we pay you to do a job function, but you can't do that job function on the pay we already give you. And regardless of everything else, and we can have an entire debate one night over user fees and whether fees are just taxes and everything else, you can slice and dice however you want. You just said, as an example, you want to punish our residents. If I'm going to raise your price to put your pool in, because you can afford a pool, then it should be fair for you to pay more money to the town for the privilege of having said pool. That's crap. I won't beat this horse there, we're not voting on it tonight anyway, but there's no way in hell I'd ever vote for this. It's just abusing the taxpayers more.
All right. Pete, did you have any comments?
I mean, it's just a shell game. The only question I would have, if we're increasing our revenue, are we going to do decreases on the tax side for that additional revenue? That would be my only point.
Say it again?
I said, if we're going to be bringing in more, are we going to see a corresponding decrease in taxes to whatever that increase is? Because we want to stay revenue neutral on this, not make a profit off it. So if we're taking more in, and the other flip side is, you know, we're staying low, are we attracting to making residents stay in Charlton by doing improvements, and are we bringing in more businesses and residents by having lower I mean, in this, as Mr. Meska said, you know, the scope of the projects, it's not much, but it is an attractive feature. So, I mean, I know that, you know, I know with the biotech industry, there's been a lot of, you know, easing on permit fees and everything to attract, you know, different industries, so those are just some considerations.
When was the last time these fees were changed?
2016.
16
years
and
ago.
18.
So it's 10 years ago. The cost of living increases are
Yeah.
3% a year.
Increase then too.
We're talking about going from $150 for a pool to $200.
Yeah, or 250 to 300, it's $50, and I can create
Yeah,
a difference.
150 to 200.
And this is still staying at the median or below median of
Compared to
everybody else,
comparison
not
towns.
that, like you said, David, it's not about it, but it is. You know, with everything else, we bring up other towns, and, yeah, no, I'm good with that, got my vote on this one.
Well, like I say, you know, look it over. If there's any comments or concerns, any clarifications you need, we'll make those adjustments, and we'll bring them back to the board for a confirmation vote in future meeting.
Thank you.
Appreciate the data you provided. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
All right. Are we on the policy?
Yes.
So we are now under action items number 6, cooperation with federal agencies policy.
All right.
Andrew?
So attached is a final cooperation with federal agencies policy with revisions as provided by council. I provided the recommended changes to the chiefs to ensure alignment with their procedures. It's recommended that the board approve the policy as revised.
So moved.
So we had a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, discussion?
No?
I think we discussed that already. No?
Well, it's
So
changed.
it's changed quite a bit,
Changed.
just down to 2 pages now. Yeah,
It started out at, how many pages, Andrew, do you remember?
I don't. Probably
It's
6.
down to 2 pages now. No one's going to speak?
Pretty much says follow the law, and it's,
And that's, yeah.
yeah.
So, and just for the record, that's exactly why I will not vote for this. As you pointed out, one of the meetings, we're the only city, or, well, the town, the only town with something like this. To me, it's just simply stating the obvious. And, you know, again, I don't see a need. And then I just wanted to let people know why I will be voting against it. It makes no sense to have yet another policy on the record. That is something we all know. It's stating the obvious. That's all.
And to me, why I will vote with it is because why not? Everything that's going on in this world lately, a little bit encouragement and reminders of what is wrong or right in our department is what I go with it, so I go with yes.
Yeah, well, what it's been watered down to is pretty much follow the law.
Yeah,
So
so
I
that's-
can't not vote on something that says follow the law, but that isn't what it started as.
I
This
just think
is-
it's, again, it's redundant, but
And
that's all
I just
right.
think it's reinforcement.
No,
I
that's,
have opinions.
no, absolutely. All right, any other discussion?
Nope.
Oh, Mr. Sage? Again, just your name, please.
Stephen Sage, I'm Chair of the Charlton Public Library Board of Trustees. As a board member, I have some difficulties with what this is. Well, actually, it was nicely lowered down to a more manageable policy, but I still have some policy problems with it because technically it basically is still saying as somebody else had put on Facebook on Bill Borowski's page, it's basically telling people that you have to follow the law, okay? And we don't need a policy that says you have to follow the law. You automatically have to follow the law. But there are some things in here that clarify some of that, like the purpose. It points out that you have to cooperate with the lawful missions and requests of federal agencies. And that creates a training problem that I see for our town, because I think there's a lot of confusion on people's part of what is lawful requests. We have procedures for requesting documents. Those are called we have records of access officers. There's a 83-page document from the state that explains how to gather and what the rules are for gathering documents from a request, a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request. And we do have our officers in place. There's a police officer, there's a town administrator, there's the fire officer, there's the town clerk, and there's 2 police officers who are able to have these documents put to them. And because I'm not a lawyer, I did look up a few things. There are certain warrants that are signed by judges that are legal documents, and there are some that are not signed by judges that don't allow the same process to take place. And not being a lawyer, I would be very confused if somebody came into the library wanting us to turn over certain documents to the person who either hands us a legal warrant or a not legal warrant. And so my recommendation would be to our library director and any staff. For first, if they came to staff, the staff would push it to the library director, and I would recommend to the library director that they automatically push the request off to the town administrator, so that the town administrator can evaluate it and also seek out the legal counsel from our legal department. I would not want my library director to make a decision on something without full-scale training, massive amounts of training to understand what their legal obligations are and what their legal obligations are not, so that they can protect themselves. And without that kind of training, I am concerned that having this policy in place, or even having no policy in place, it should automatically go to the town administrator to get clarification as to whether it's a lawful request. Not having training, I'm not sure if they came to me as a chair of or a member of the board, if I would have the knowledge myself without having to defer them. I know for a request of documents, you have 10 days to produce or not produce, and give a legitimate reason why you're not producing a document, only because I've kind of studied some things. But I don't think the average employee, or even maybe a department head, has that kind of knowledge. And so I have real concern placing this into the beginning. If it does get passed, then I would say, when you adopt it, you put an effective date that takes place well after sufficient training takes place, so that all parties can understand what they need to do. Without that training, I am really concerned that this is going to create some chaos.
Mr. State, all I want to say, and this is not prohibiting you from doing your due diligence and finding that. It's just making sure you take action and not ignore the request. That's the intent. So say you received a request and said, well, I don't know what I'm doing this, but That's the obstructive part. If you say, all right, I don't know what I'm gonna go to Andrew, that's cooperation. That's what it's entailing. Not for you to make the decision, but to actually take action on the request and not ignore it.
Yeah, that's why I think there's these safeguards in there talking about, it's a lawful thing, you can defer to the,
So it's like establishing a path, establishing a pathway of escalation.
the RAOs, the records officers.
To the chair.
But that's in place automatically already, because if any person can come in and make a request for documents. The government can come in, law enforcement can come in, local citizens can come in.
We can't be having sidebars when
It's a
people.
question about
I don't.
whether we can.
You can, it violates the open meeting law.
To the
It's
chair.
an open meeting law violation for me to personally ask a question to the TA.
During, we
I'm
have.
not talking to the majority of board
Good,
members.
good, continue.
And we automatically know that we have rules that we have to follow. The state has decided what those rules are. And we have the officers already in place
What's
to
your point
be
of
able to
order?
follow this.
Excuse
So
me,
then my
Ms.
question is, based upon our vote and deliberate policies,
Mhm.
we've already debated, we're supposed to vote tonight. Now, if we're debating tonight, my question is, does that mean we can't vote tonight? Because now we're having another debate about this issue tonight? And if we can vote tonight, then we're voting tonight, but we're not supposed to be debating it tonight because we already had the debate and discussion of this exact issue and this policy previously. Now, yes, it's changed, gotten smaller, but that was at the direction of that discussion meeting to have it come back into a condensed form. And we were supposed to vote on that tonight. If we're voting on it, we shouldn't be debating it. If we're debating it, my question is, can we vote on this tonight, or are we gonna have to wait a whole another 2 weeks before we can even vote on this again? Because we're violating our own policies
So
now.
it's a good point, and I will say that this, anytime we touch a policy, it's changed, and in this case, it changed drastically. I think, and we can always, and I do know this, David, I do know we are allowed to have conversation and discussion at any stage,
So can we
especially
not vote
because
tonight?
if the board wishes to vote tonight, we can vote tonight. That's my understanding. Right, Andrew?
Yes.
Okay. So you may continue, and then, I know you have a question, but can you just wrap it up, and then I'll let Basha, you can probably answer her question.
Yeah, maybe.
One thing that makes this also very difficult is the Supreme Court allows the law enforcement agencies not to always tell the truth. That's a past
Chair.
information.
Comments.
And
It's public
if you're approached by a law,
If law enforcement lies, I'd be careful with that.
it's a proven fact.
Okay, Stefan.
The Supreme Court has ruled on the fact that they do not have to tell you.
Okay, to the
Okay,
board. I
let's-
have a
What is the
question
law?
to your
Okay, let's
previous.
keep it to, okay, Basha's going
something
to ask a
previous.
question, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Question, so do you have right now the procedures for your staff at the library to handle any situation? Did they go through any training as to how, so either way, you will have to have one, right?
If this comes into place, there's gonna have to be training.
Well, no,
for this.
but you should have it now, right? Because how do they know how to act now, even so nothing is implemented?
I think there are policies about dissemination of information.
Were they trained in how to act upon?
I don't know if they were
things?
trained on how to act or not.
So maybe we should check on that. So
Maybe-
either way, my point is
We
they
need
should
to
have a
check on
training.
that for every single department.
Yeah, or not.
So,
An example of a law enforcement officer can come up to you and say, I need your identification, when legally, they don't have that right. But by saying that, they're not telling you the truth about what the law really is. And the Supreme Court has ruled that that's okay.
And let me
And if you're not
say-
knowledgeable,
one at a time.
if you're not knowledgeable in the law of what your rights are,
Yeah.
then you can be rolled over.
I agree, but either way, without this passing or not, you telling us that we should put all our employees through the training, right? Because they don't have one now. So with or without implementation of this, our people, what you're saying is, have absolutely no idea how to react in a certain case. In either way, we're gonna have, you're suggesting, because it's only fair to go both ways.
I think you need to provide training.
Yeah, so
And
maybe
that's
that's
why
another
I'm
thing to
saying, if it
discuss.
passes, the effective date needs to be done after that training is in place, as opposed to immediately.
That's a whole
when the
other-
board
And-
approves it.
So what I'd like to add is this is exactly why we shouldn't put this policy in place. In my opinion, which a policy should be, what I believe the school committee had one, because I remember it. It's just a very broad escalation policy in general for anything when you don't know what to do. Not, when we try to get in the weeds like this, we just open ourselves up and for possible litigation. And that's why I go back to, and I will say that it's unnecessary, it's redundant, and it's opening up a can of worms that I think we're gonna regret opening up.
So it is really open.
You say this is a redundancy just to follow law, but then on the other hand, you say it's opening us up to litigation. So how, if this policy is telling us to follow law, are we gonna be opened up to litigation?
Because of what just Mr. Sage
But
pointed out.
he
It's
pointed out a lot
different-
of things, he
different interpretation.
he doesn't know if things were covered by policy, he doesn't know if trainings were, so this is a catalyst to make sure the town employees know what they're supposed to do in a situation.
Again, it's good, spirited debate is good, but if you want to talk, please, if you're going to say something new, go
I
ahead.
just want to point out that this has actually cleared council and our police chief and our town council have all approved this.
Of course, because
So it shouldn't be an
it's
issue.
common sense, I'm glad it passed.
But then it shouldn't be an issue, and there shouldn't be a threat of litigation when our own council and police chief approve this.
Understood. Okay, we can agree to disagree, that's what it's all about, but, all right.
And
Any
that's why
more?
I said, if it gets approved, you need to have an effective date that allows for the training to take place, so people can follow through appropriately and have the knowledge they need to handle this policy. There are protections in here for our staff, where it says, ruling, I'm sorry, I have troubles reading these days with these glasses. Nothing in this policy shall be interpreted to require any town official or employee for act outside the scope of their authority or job duties. So
Okay.
that protects them,
So hopefully.
violate state or federal law, or disregard the constitutional rights of any individual. You know, understanding whether you're violating somebody's constitutional rights is not an easy thing to have knowledge about. And so there needs to be training on that.
Okay. Are we done?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I always appreciate your comments. And again, I'll just say, the only town in the whole state that's going to have something like this, but it's okay if that's what the majority wants, that's what it's about. Any other discussion before we take a vote? All right, all those in favor of the policy as presented tonight?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Aye. Motion passes 4-1. Perfect, all right. Thank you. Where are we, Andrew? I'm sorry?
You passed the policy, but you haven't passed it.
They didn't, no one offered a motion to amend the policy to, to add that to the motion.
I was left blank on the policy.
Because we were not sure we're gonna vote on it today or not.
I believe that makes it immediate, right, Andrew? Thank you.
Where are we?
Committee.
Number 7?
Oh, committee reports.
Committee reports. So we're down on agenda item number 7, committee reports. I don't think anyone has anything to report on. If so, let me know. All right, town administrator report, Andrew?
All right, so on the fire station outside the building, some ancillary site work, including sewer main installation, power duct banks, and the generator pad have been completed, with site works contractor back on site. Front porch concrete pad has been poured, and the porch framing is ongoing this week. Inside the building, some rough mechanical and electrical installation is ongoing in both the administrative area and the apparatus bay, and the project team is in the process of coordinating sprinkler installation work at this time. So rough installations are scheduled over the next few weeks. Other items, the town of Charlton has been selected as an awardee under the Meta Grant Program for the Town of Charlton Hazard Mitigation Plan update. We'll be receiving $28,000 under this grant for technical assistance. The West Mass Development is in the process of coordinating a stakeholders meeting with property owners along Route 20 as part of their economic development infrastructure planning process. I'd encourage anybody interested in participating in this discussion to reach out to our office for information on the roundtable, which is still in the process of being scheduled. And we'll be meeting with Mass DOT this week to discuss planned safety improvements along Route 20 between 49 and 169, and I'm looking forward to bringing what they're proposing to a future meeting.
Excellent, thank you so much. Any questions for Andrew?
Oh, sorry, I had one more thing. Leading up to town meeting, in prior years, we had sent postcards out prior to meetings to notify people. We've been on a regular cadence. I'd like to get on a regular cadence of doing that prior to regular and special meetings. I just wanted approval of the board to expend money to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right, cool.
You need a vote?
I don't need a vote, I just want a consensus before I pull the trigger.
Yeah, all right. All right, select board member requests for future agenda items?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What Mr. Levinsky wrote, that Article 25, if we can go figure it out, what it's
Yeah,
all
we
about.
told,
Yeah.
yeah. We, right, Andrew?
Yes.
Yep, David?
Can we please put on the next meeting an agenda item for the 250th anniversary of our country this year and some kind of celebration, flags, or what we can do for the 250th?
Oh,
Wait.
we were proposing looking at some flags for Main Street, commemorative ones, so we're working on getting pricing for that, and I'll bring that back for you guys.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I wish I could claim credit, but this is actually some of the Legion guys said it was really a good idea.
Anything else? No? So our next regular meeting will be April 28th, 2026. It'll be at 6:30 PM at the Town Hall, right here in Meeting Room 1. We will now adjourn and go into executive session.
Yes. So we close the meeting or
Go to
adjourn?
executive.
A vote to adjourn?
Go into exec.
Go executive.
Go right into-
Adjourn and go into executive session,
Go into
MGL
exec, yeah, there you go.
38, Section 21A-2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, town administrator contract, highway union, and return into open session if needed, and to adjourn.
Sasha?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Pete? Aye. Aaron? Aye, okay.